About 3 months ago, I really started getting into self-improvement. I say self-help, self-improvement. It sounds ridiculous just even me saying it out loud and just talking about it. Because in the past, I have been someone who's absolutely thought it's either a bunch of new age nonsense or it just couldn't work for me. It might work for someone else, but it couldn't work for me. Well, one of the things they talk about though is how important the mindset is. And again, it's one of those words, those buzzwords, those phrases that would have made me cringe. But I've come to realize that a lot of my problems are from my headspace and just how poor it is. And that a lot of my problems, a lot of my weaknesses derive from a bad mindset. And so there was a study that was done about 10 years ago, and it found that we have about 10 to 50,000 thoughts in a day. That's a pretty wide range, and there are people that are critical of this study. They have skepticism about it. But the findings and the conclusions were we have about 10 to 50,000 thoughts a day, and that 80% of those thoughts are negative. Now, I know for myself, I have a lot of thoughts during the day, but for the sake of I don't even know accuracy, let's just take the very low end of that spectrum and say 10,000 thoughts. And then let's cut that in half, and so we're going to go with 5,000 thoughts. That feels pretty safe that we have 5,000 thoughts during the day. And I know for myself that a lot of them are negative, so we're going to say 80% of those are negative, so 4,000 thoughts. So if you extrapolate that and put that throughout the year, and think about this, if you had 5,000 thoughts a day for 365 days in a year, and 4,000 of those were negative, we're going to just do some really rough math here because I want to. And we're going to say it's about 1.4 million negative thoughts a year. Now, if we do the 1,000 times the 365 days, so these are your positive thoughts, we've got 365,000 positive thoughts. And so if we said that your negative thoughts and your positive thoughts just happen to cancel out, then that leaves you with a little over 1 million negative thoughts for your year. And regardless of this whole ridiculous scenario, just imagine though this 80% of your thoughts being negative for the entire year. And what a place that would put you in, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. And for myself, I'm almost 35. I know that a lot of my life has been centered around just poor mental toughness and poor mental focus and poor mental thoughts, right? But that has been my mindset. That's been my place for the majority of my life. And there's also that famous experiment where they took two sets of kids who were of the same aptitude, same mental abilities. They put them in two separate classes. They told one class, you're a gifted class. They told one class, you're a remedial class. They studied the same material. They took the same tests. And obviously the people that thought were stupid, they did poorly on the test. The kids who thought, oh, we're smart, they did well on the test. And so the first thing to do, if you're someone who's like me, you're just starting out at this, you're trying to figure out what ways can I grow, what ways can I learn. The first thing with your mental game, your mental life, is just to start to recognize all the thoughts you have on a daily basis and to recognize, wow, they're really negative or they're really positive. But to start to take an inventory of your thoughts on a daily basis and from hour to hour. And are my thoughts generally positive? Are they generally negative? And from there you can then start to question those negative thoughts. Is this realistic? Am I exaggerating? Am I blowing something out of proportion? But for me, that was a massive start, was just to recognize, wow, I have really negative thoughts. The phone rings and my first thought is super negative. Or I'm going into a project in work, or I'm starting my work day, or I'm starting just the day. And what are my thoughts? Where am I at in my headspace? So that's what I encourage you to do, is to take an inventory of your thoughts on a daily basis, jot them down, and start to just recognize the patterns that you see. And that's the good start for if you're trying to figure out where you are mentally and trying to make changes and grow in that area. So, as always, my name is Mark Taylor. You are more loved and valued than you can possibly imagine.